Hey guys, Podfaith here, and today I am excited to bring you guys an in-depth guide on how to play Aphelios. Now this video is sort of a re-upload. I don't think you guys will notice because I'll be removing the original guide I made on Aphelios. I didn't realize how laggy the video would be when I recorded it because it was on a different computer, and I thought the game wasn't lagging in my eyes, so I assumed the video itself wasn't lagging. But yeah, so here's the actual guide on how to play Aphelios. Let's get into it. So let's start off with the runes. For the primary runes for Aphelios, you have three options. You have Conquer, Lethal Tempo, and Press the Attack. Now, all three of these are good in their own way. Conquer, strong, it helps Aphelios scale even more into the late game than he already does. Lethal Tempo, not as good as scaling as Conquer or Press the Attack, but it gives you early laning power and is still really good late game or mid to late game. Press the Attack gives you good early laning power, not as strong as Lethal Tempo, and scales well into the late game. I think that Press the Attack is like the middle ground between Lethal Tempo and Conquer because it gives you both good early laning power and good late game scaling, but it's not too lean to one side. For your secondary tree, Overheal, very very common, or it should be the only one you use. It synergizes well with Aphelios, especially since you have natural healing with your Severum, your red gun. I've seen people go Triumph. I don't think it's that good. Kinda mediocre. Um, I just think that Overheal is the best because it just synergizes the most. Your Legend, Bloodline, Lifesteal, very strong on Aphelios since he does a lot of damage, and Alacrity, kind of not worth it because you're already getting a lot of attack speed from the items you're getting, and since you're an 80 carry. Last one, it's situational. I currently had coup de grace because on my last game, coup de grace is the most used. It's like used 60-70% of the time. But say like there's three tanks on the other side, cut down obviously. They have a bursty or really pokey team. Last stand would be the option for you. For your secondary tree, you have two options: sorcery or domination. Sorcery is the more safe way, I guess, to play Aphelios. Like, if you're new to Aphelios and you don't want to run the risk of, getting ganked easily or dying easily, sorcery is the one for you. Even for veteran players, it's still very strong. Now, you would go Nimbus Cloak with Gathering Storm. Gathering Storm, kind of self-explanatory. Um, it gives you AD, it gives you adaptive, so it helps you scale even more. Nimbus Cloak, movement speed, very, very crucial on a mobile carry like Aphelios. And so that's why the sorcery tree is kind of the safer option. Domination is the other option. It's kind of the more all in, you're betting you're gonna win lane. And you normally would go Ravenous Hunter with Eyeball Collection or Taste of Blood with Ravenous Hunter. Um, Ravenous Hunter, really strong, gives you Omni Vamp, so you do bonus damage on top of your, or bonus healing on top of your, a lot on top of your damage and your bloodline. Um, I would go Eyeball Collection with Ravenous Hunter just because you get that bonus adaptive damage, and since you're already healing from your abilities, I think Taste of Blood is kind of redundant and unnecessary. For your flex runes, attack speed, adaptive force, armor, or MR, depending on your matchup. Um, I think adaptive is kind of strong. It's really your choice. I just like attack speed and adaptive force, just because Aphelios has kind of low attack speed in the beginning, and so if you want to kind of have early pressure or somewhat early pressure, then attack speed is the way. You're not like Jin, whose attack speed is fixed, so you don't need to go double adaptive. But Double adaptive works. I still think it's kind of strong, but I think attack speed and adaptive is kind of the way to go. It's the most common and the best way. So summon up for runes. Press the attack, lethal tempo or conqueror. Remember this is a press attack, good power, good laning early, scales really well late. Lethal tempo gives you a lot of early laning power, gives you a lot of poke, but kind of falls off into the late game. Not too bad though. Conqueror, kind of weak early game, but scales well into the late game. So you can choose whichever you want. It's also on your comp. Depends on your comp or how you're gonna play. Second, overheal. Third, bloodline. The fourth one, situational with you normally go coup de grace. Oh, last stand against tanks. Or sorry, cut down one against tanks. Last stand against a pokey bursty team. And domination for if you're confident and you're gonna do and you know you're not gonna die in lane, or you know you can survive in lane quite well. With Eyewalk Collection, Revenant Hunter, or if you want, or Sorcery, if you're gonna be safe, Nymph's Cloak, Gathering Storm, and then attack speed, adaptive force, armor, MR. Now that I've explained the runes, let's get into the game. Now, for spells, I always go flash. I usually go flash heal. Sometimes I'll go flash cleanse. If you're gonna get a lot of cleanse value, like they have a Leona with a Vagar, and then they have all this chain CC and stuff, then I would recommend cleanse. But heal, I think, is probably the best one of the 80 carries in general. And not a lot of people know this, but you can heal when you're CC'd, so still kind of helps. Also, this new skin for Aphelios, I think it's really good compared to like Nightbringer. Even though Nightbringer looks sick, I think Lunar Beast is better, much more clear, especially with your marks and everything. Just a nice skin in general. Nightbringer, still pretty sick, but if you can get Lunar Beast, I recommend it just because of how sick it looks. Obviously, it's just, it's a cosmetic, but still things look sick. Okay, we are in. Now, for your items, 99% of the time, you're going to start D-Blade. D-Blade, Potion, Ward. You can go D-Shield. Like, I think D-Shield kind of sucks for 80 carries just because of the passive. It's not as effective when you're on a ranged champion. And also, it doesn't give you the slight bit of attack damage. And if you really think you're gonna need something like D-Shield, I recommend still going D-Blade, getting a health pot, your ward, blah blah blah, going into lane, and then if you say you get like 500 gold, right? Base, get a longsword, and get a refill pot. It'll be so much more valuable than just D-Shield. I've seen people go Cole. I think Cole is alright. If you're really gonna be farming it out and you're gonna be in lane the whole time, not necessarily the whole time, but for a majority of the game, I think it works. But D-Blade, so strong, gives you that hint of Omnivamp, health, and attack damage. Now, for your core items, you have two options as your mythics. You have Kraken Slayer or Shield Bow. I normally go Kraken Slayer about 70% of the time, just because of how well it synergizes with Aphelios and his kit. Shield Bow is still good. Say they have a really bursty comp, or they have a comp that will outpoke you, still really strong. But normally I'll go Kraken Slayer. And for your second item, your second core item, Ruden's Hurricane. Ruden's Hurricane is probably the most broken item on Aphelios. And let me show you why. So, Ruden's Hurricane has a lot of unique interactions with Aphelios and his weapons. So the Ruden's passive, it does bolts, apply on-hit effects to nearby targets, right? But for Aphelios, it's not the quote-unquote bolts, it's actually autos. So let's take the Severum, right? The Severn passive, 3% of damage dealt with this weapon. He heals from it. But when you have rune-ins, you attack once. Instead of healing 3% from one auto, you're technically healing 9% because you're doing 3 autos. And that's super strong, especially if you have something like you have Gravitum. You can just hit one person, or you can just hit one auto and you get 3 marks. It's so strong, and you can do a 3-man route. Other items, the next items would be situational, obviously. IE is optimal as a third item because you get the passive, you'll get 60%, you'll reach 60% crit, and you do even more damage. Bloodthirster works really well as well, just because of the sheer damage you do, and you get just lifesteal and just lifesteal back up to full so fast in a team fight. Mortal Reminder, very common on ADCs nowadays, just because there's a lot of healing. I don't recommend getting this third. I recommend just getting the Executioner's Calling and then going into your third core item, and then building Mortal Reminder maybe like fourth or fifth. Lord Doms, very strong if you're against multiple tanks, just because of the passive and the armor pen. You just do more and more damage, and you just melt people a lot faster than you think. And your last item, maybe something like GA or maybe like PD. I think GA is probably the call, or Mercurial Scimitar. You need the CC your move. But to wrap it up, your core items, Kraken Slayer, Rune-ins, IE or Bloodthirst or something like that, depending on the situation. Maybe and then maybe the rest of your items will be kind of situational. Now for your laning phase is Aphelios, early game. Now a lot of things I see a lot of kind of new Aphelios players do, which I think is there's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of I guess a quote unquote rookie mistake. Not necessarily, it's not a mistake, because a lot of people think it's a mistake, but it's not. So when Aphelios players get into lane, they always start with Calibrum. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but if you want to get like full value out of the starting minions, or you want to be super efficient, it's best to kill minions or attack minions with Severum, because you're gonna already be stacking your overheal passive and the Severum healing shield passive. It may be slow, but you'll still be stacking it, so it'll give you even a little bit more survivability on top in lane, which is something you're gonna need level 1 to maybe like level 4 or 5, because you're so weak early. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with farming with Calibrum. Like say like you're on their side, right? And you need to kind of like you're over here, the minion wave is like right here, and you have to farm it out. There's nothing wrong with that. It's always good to try your best to kill minions with Severum at the beginning. Now, for trading, you want to try your best to avoid extended trades in the beginning as Aphelios, because your levels like 1 through maybe like 5, you're going to lose. Unless, you have really good support and you're able to outplay them. Now, one thing that I like to do on Aphelios is when you trade, so you come into lane, right? You're coming into the lane, and they just say this is the minion, right? And that guy, this is where the caster minions are. Actually, no, I'll show you. So say the enemy is like right here, right? I'll be hitting the melees, and then periodically, or I look at them, try watch them, and if I think they're in Calibrum range, switch to Calibrum, auto walk back. That's the best way to trade, because Calibrum, you're gonna outrange majority. Well, not majority, but you're kind of outranging a good amount of the ADCs, so you can just poke and then walk back. And so they kind of have to chase you and follow you if they want to poke or trade. And so it's efficient for you. And then back, poke back, poke back, poke back. That's your about normal trade patterns. This is a lot of minions actually. um, but you want to avoid trading um early because you want to avoid all-inning early. That's because of the fact that you're gonna lose majority of the time, like because of how weak Aphelios is, especially like level 1. You have no abilities, you can't do anything. And so yeah, just avoid trying to all in early levels because of you do low damage. Another trade pattern that I do kind of often actually that I notice is that say you have a support, right, and they're kind of parallel to you with the wave. You when you're both walking up, the opponent, the ADC or the support, or both, they're gonna choose to go on you majority of the time. So what you can do is you can Q with Severum and keep them at like max range of your ability, and keep like walking forward and back. Like I said, they're at max range ability, and then the support can get on them so that they can, they can CC them, and then they can stop from attacking you. And so you get a kind of a good trade, especially when you have Severum Calibrum, because you press Q, they're at max range, and then you back up, and then Calibrum proc. Easy. It's especially good when you have press the attack because, like, here, let me show you. So it's hard to see with all these minions. Um, when you when you use Severum passive, once you get 3 hits, you proc PTA. So you're doing extra damage, like halfway through it. And then you do the Calibrum proc, you do extra damage from that proc as well. It's just a really strong trading combo if you're able to pull it off correctly. Also, certain things to note. A lot of Aphelios's ability procs count as autos. Even his ulti, like here, let me show you here in the river because there's so many minions. Okay, so let me queue up Cranks there. 1, 2. Okay, ulti. See, PTA got procced and Krakenslayer got procced because his ulti technically counts as an auto attack. Like if you look, it comes down quickly, but it counts as an auto attack. Your Calibrum Q, when you proc it, counts as an auto attack. When you use Severum, counts as an auto attack. So it's kind of these unique and niche interactions that you kind of notice and get used to. But that's just one thing to note. As for your guns, you should try your best to keep track of what gun you have, what gun combo you have. Like, try your best not to have, like, say, like Crescendum Gravitum. Like this. This gun combo really sucks because you're not getting super efficient trades with this. Like, yeah, cool, you rooted them, but then you're kind of weak. Like, you'd better off be like, you better off being having like this because like Severum and Crescendum because you can Severum, and then you get all your Crescendum stacks, and then you can just auto, and you'll be a dueler. You don't have this like niche kind of style you're gonna have to play. The most popular gun combos are the strong ones. Severum, Crescendum, obviously, you're very good at dueling because you stack your Crescendums really quickly. And also the Severum Q is actually really unbalanced. It's so strong. Another one, Calibrum Crescendum. I think this one is actually really underrated, especially when people are kind of like chasing you, like they're getting kill hungry for you. Because what you can do is like you lose a trade, right, and you're backing up, drop this behind you, and then proc it as you're walking away. What'll happen is you do you do more and more damage every time you proc it because of Crescendum. And so you're kind of like lowering them as you're running away. And then you can eventually turn and then you'll be able to kill them. I think it's just really strong. Another strong combo. Let me get rid of this. It's or a common combo, so to say. Infernum Gravitum. This is like your team fighting combo because you can Q, get like 3 or 4 people, and then insta root, and it's very strong. But yeah, so always try your best to keep track of what guns you have, so that you can be as efficient as possible, and this will become natural over time. But just try your best to check it periodically. For your ulti, you're not like Samira or like someone like Jin, where you need to know how to use the ulti really well to get full use out of this champion, but it's still very strong with Aphelios. In my opinion, the worst ulti is probably Severum. The Gravitum ulti, very strong, 99% slow, and then you get a bonus. The root effect is increased. Infernum, also very strong. AoE damage, really overpowered in team fights. And then let me just get rid of these. Yeah, so the Severum one is all right because just gives you health. Cool. It's good for like if you're trying to peel away and you're being chased, but Severum one very strong if you have this combo in particular, or they're trying to all in you. So like you say they're all in you right there, you Q, back up, ulti with Crescendum, and you get 10 stacks instantly, or you get extra 5 chakram, including the one from the ulti. That's one thing about this. It's a little bit misleading. It's 4 stacks, but it's actually 5, and then it's 1 per additional target. So like here, let me show you. So spawn, please. So when you hit 1 target, you hit. Oh, okay. So I can only spawn 4. That sucks. When you hit 1 target, you get 5, right? 4 or 3, you have 7. So you get 5, and then you get an additional 1 per extra target hit or enemy champion hit. Calibrum one I think is alright. It's actually, I think that's probably one of my favorites, just because of the fact that I think, in my opinion, it's kind of the most versatile depending on the situation and what guns you have. Like it's also good for late game when they're trying to run away, they're super low, ulti them, and they're like, oh, okay, it's only a mark, it's not gonna do that much damage, but then you do extra bonus damage from the mark itself. It's really strong, and I just think it's broken. But yeah, so that is my guide on how to play Aphelios. Oh, before I forget, mid to late game things. Just try your best to stay alive. Kite. Um, you're gonna be, hopefully you get like a lead, or you're able to stay away from like the front line. You're gonna be targeting the front line anyway. Aphelios has hard time gaining backline access, but if you can play Aphelios well and you're able to get ahead, you become like 1v9. It's ridiculous. He's super strong. But yeah, so that's it for my in-depth guide on how to play Aphelios. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Like any unique interaction, like there's any interactions you want to know, any Anything else about Aphelios, just let me know. Yeah, until next time, guys. I'll see you later. Have a nice one.